If I were to start looking for a new job today, here are the 6 things that new job must have. Hybrid or remote work, flexibility and promotion of life-work balance, challenging and fulfilling work, the people have to be quality, the salary has to be competitive, and there has to be a in-depth benefits or total rewards program. Hey, my name's Abby and welcome back to the Life Work Balance YouTube channel. Today I'm going to go in depth about what each of those 6 things means to me and also give you example questions that you could ask at the end of an interview that could get to the heart of some of those items. Before we jump into that, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you're looking forward to today's content. And if you haven't already, please remember to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life-work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. So again, if I were looking for a new job today, these are the 6 things that would be most important to me that would play a huge role in if I would accept a position or even apply to a position to begin with. And that is hybrid and remote work, flexibility and promotion of life-work balance, being engaged in challenging or fulfilling work, working with great quality people, getting paid a competitive salary, and having a robust benefits or total rewards program. So let's dive deeper into each of these 6 items. And I'll also give you a couple of examples of questions that you could ask at the end of your interview to get at the heart of these items. First, let's talk about hybrid and remote work. The pandemic has done incredible things when it comes to the ability to work hybrid or fully remote. And having a job that is fully remote or at least hybrid, where the majority of the time is probably remote, but I may come into the office a couple of times, is important to me. Sure, there are some industries where working in person in an office full-time is required, but that's not the type of job that I'm interested in. So it is highly important to me that if I were to start looking for a new job today, that job is either fully remote or is mostly remote with some opportunities to come into the office. I'm not completely against going back into the office, but I have a young family. I have young kids who are in school, who are doing activities, and working remote and having the ability to be around my children is really important to me. So while remote work and hybrid work might not be for everyone, that is something that I will always continue to request when it comes to whatever next job I might be applying to. So if you're applying to a job and it's not clear if it is in person, if it is hybrid, or if it is fully remote, during the interview process, you can just blatantly ask the question, does this position have the ability to work fully remote or can it be hybrid? That should be a relatively easy question for your interviewers to answer. If they say that this job can be hybrid, which means it's not fully remote, but it's also not fully in person, you could ask the question, what does a typical hybrid work week look like? And that could help you determine if it's going to be 4 days in the office with 1 day remote, or if it's 4 days remote and 1 day in the office. The second most important thing to me when it comes to looking for a new job is the ability for flexibility and how much that organization that I could be applying to promotes life-work balance. It's important to me to work for an organization that recognizes how important home life is to their employees. I do not want to work for an organization that expects me to work more than 40 hours a week on a regular basis. Most of the jobs that I apply to are salaried positions, which means there is some flexibility. So I'm not against working more than 40 hours a week in extenuating circumstances. However, if it's a part of the culture and it's an expectation to work more than 40 hours a week, I want to know from the beginning so that I can politely decline and continue my job search elsewhere. I also want to work for an organization that promotes disconnection from work. I do not want to feel obligated to be connected to my cell phone with my work email, my work text messages, my calendar, etc. all of the time. I want to work for an organization that promotes coming to work and leaving work. That doesn't mean that I won't be thinking about work when I'm at home, but it does mean that my organization won't expect me to be available all of the time. They will promote my ability to be with my family, my ability to be off from work and disconnected from work. And I also will have the understanding that there may be times where I need to focus more on work outside of my traditional work hours, so I can be flexible as well. When it comes to the flexibility, I also want some flexible working hours. This means that I don't have to log in on the computer and log off of the computer at the same time every single day. As I mentioned before, I have a young family, and being a part of my children's lives is important to me. So one of the things that is important to me when it comes to looking for a job is a job that understands that some mornings I may have to take my children to school, or some afternoons I may have to pick them up from school and take them to activities. And I want to work for a job that not only recognizes that, but promotes that type of connection with my family. So a question that you could ask at the end of your interview that could help you get to the heart of this matter is, how does this organization support your disconnection from work in order to promote rejuvenation and balance at home? The interviewer's answer to that question should be pretty telling. You will be able to read body language, and you'll be able to tell if this organization either promotes life-work balance or if it expects you to be on and connected all of the time. The third important aspect of job searching for me is finding a job that will provide me with challenging yet fulfilling work. So the actual work that I will be doing in that organization and for that organization, I want it to be challenging. I want it to push me out of my comfort zone. And I also want it to be fulfilling. I want to feel like I am doing something that is contributing to something greater than myself, like I am contributing to others' successes. I want to feel like what I'm doing matters and like I am a valuable piece to the organization. I also want an organization that is invested in my professional development and my professional growth. So this means that my organization, while I might have my standard list of job responsibilities and duties, will provide me with tasks and projects that will push me out of my comfort zone that might not be in my typical job description. So I've got 2 questions for you that could get to the heart of figuring out if this organization provides valuable, meaningful, fulfilling, and also challenging work. So the first question is, what was the most fulfilling project that you've worked on, and how was it assigned to you? So that question should be able to trigger the interviewer that you're working with to give you an example of a fulfilling yet challenging project that they've worked on. It will then also get at the heart of how that project came to fall into their lap. Were they assigned to work on that project? Did their supervisor recommend them for it? Did they come up with the idea themselves and pitch it to their supervisor or manager or organization? And did their organization, supervisor, or manager support them working on that project? The second question you can ask is, when was the last time you were pushed out of your comfort zone? By asking this question, that could get at the heart of a specific project that the interviewer has worked on or a specific interaction that that person has engaged in, as well as a variety of other examples. So those are 2 questions that can help you figure out if this work will be fulfilling yet challenging. Will the work that you will be doing matter? Will you be valued? And how do others experience this in the organization? The fourth thing that is really important to me if I were looking for another job would be making sure that the people that I'm working with are not only quality people, but also people that I get along with. I want to like the people that I'm working with. In most cases, if you're working in a full-time position, you will be working in a job and you will be interacting with people more often than you will with your own friends and family. So it's important that you like the people that you work with. It's also important that you have a positive, good relationship with your manager or supervisor. The number one reason why people leave their jobs is typically because of a bad or toxic relationship with their manager or supervisor. So I not only want to enjoy the general people that I'm working with, but I want a positive relationship with my supervisor. I also want a team that doesn't engage in drama, and when there is conflict, it's handled in a positive way. So this doesn't mean that there's no conflict, because that's actually very unhealthy, but it does mean that when there is conflict, that it's handled in a professional, positive way so that there is growth and development among all parties. Along those same lines, that means that the people that I will be working with are creative, collaborative, and innovative. They are here to solve problems, they're here to do meaningful work, and if we can all be united towards the same mission and goals, that is ideal for me. So here are a couple of questions that you could ask that could help you figure out the types of people that you might be working with. Now, I want to add a disclaimer. You can ask these questions and the interviewers might not be completely honest during the interview. So you've got to take your best educated guess based on the answers that you receive to make your most informed decision. You could also ask to spend some time with your potential team if you're moved on to the next rounds of interviews. Being able to go into the actual workspace and observe people in their natural environment could give you some good indication on if this team is a good fit for you or not. So anyway, what types of questions could you ask to get at the heart of what types of people you could be working with and how conflict might be handled in this organization? Here are some examples. Can you describe how this team handles conflict? You could also ask, how is feedback handled? My third example question is, can you share with me a time you had to provide constructive feedback to a peer or employee, and how did they receive it or how did they react to it? So while those questions are geared more towards feedback and conflict, those are questions that you can ask to really understand the culture of the team. Feedback is something that is incredibly important for your personal growth and development. So hearing real-world examples of how feedback is delivered in this specific team will help you make that informed decision on if this is the right organization and job and team for you. It is also perfectly acceptable, like I said before, for you to ask if you can spend some time with the team before you accept this position. I would recommend spending maybe a half of a day observing how this team is actually interacting and working in their natural environment. It's likely that that opportunity will be unpaid. However, it can give you some really great insight and opportunities for you to get to know the people who would potentially be on your team. The fifth most important aspect to me about finding a new job that I would take into consideration when looking for this new job is salary. So salary is important, but to me it is not the number one most important thing. However, when it does come to salary, there are a couple of things that are important to me. The first is that I want to be compensated for what I believe I'm worth. So this means that I will be getting paid probably more than what I'm currently making in my position right now. This also means that I believe that the salary is competitive and also up to the market value, which means that I'm not being underpaid and that this position and this salary is competitive compared to other similar positions and salaries in this industry. One of the other aspects that's important to me when it comes to salary is opportunity for growth. I want to know that if I'm going to be accepting a position, that the salary will not just be stagnant and the same for the entire time that I'm employed. I want to make sure that there is opportunity for growth not only for me in a career, but also from a salary perspective. These questions are not questions that you should ask right at the get-go. And most job postings will have a salary range posted on the job posting. Now, this might be the entire salary range for the position, which is probably the lowest end of the salary range to the highest end of the salary range, and other positions might have the hiring range listed. And so that's the range they're expecting to spend when it comes to actually hiring someone into the position. If the salary is not listed, it is perfectly acceptable to ask what the salary range is for the position and what the hiring range is for the position. I do not recommend going into your very first interview being prepared to discuss and negotiate salary. Asking what the salary range is, asking what the hiring range is a perfectly acceptable question for your first interview, but I do not recommend doing the salary negotiation during this first interview. Once you've had a couple of interviews and you have been offered the job or you think it's going to be coming up, then the salary negotiation can come up. And I actually have a video exclusively on how to negotiate your salary, so I've linked to it in the description box below. Please feel free to check that out. The sixth most important thing to me when it comes to looking for a new job are the benefits that are offered to employees. So this isn't just health insurance benefits, this is a total rewards package. So the things that are important to me are retirement contributions. I want to know that the company that I'm working for is invested in my retirement. I want to know how much they match when it comes to retirement contributions or how much they contribute to begin with. I want to know if their insurance is quality. I want to know if they provide wellness programs for their employees. I also want to know what their leave policies look like, specifically for maternity or parental leave. I also want to know if they support their employees through continuing their education, through programs like tuition reimbursement. Now, a lot of those things are not questions that you would ask during an interview. That's information that you will obtain if you're offered the position and they share with you the benefits brochure or documents about the benefits process. However, you can ask some questions during the interview process that get to the heart or kind of allude to the benefits programs that the company offers. And these questions are, how does this organization support employees through professional development, whether internally or through external institutions? So that gets at like the tuition reimbursement side of things. You could also ask, what is the last wellness initiative that you have participated in? And that lets you know if there A, are wellness initiatives, and B, if the culture of the team that you could potentially be joining is to participate in those wellness programs. So that not only gets at the benefits side of things, but also back up to the second most important item for me, which is the life-work balance side of things. So I hope you found this video helpful. If I were to start looking for a new job, those are the 6 things that I would keep in mind as the top priorities for me when it comes to actually applying to and interviewing for jobs. I hope that the questions that I provided are questions that could help you ask and answer those same things. And if you are in the job search process, please remember to check out some of my other videos that will help you be successful during that phase of your life. If you did find this video helpful, please go ahead and give this a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, please throw them in the comments box below. I would love to know what your top 5 or 6 items are when it comes to looking for a job. Are they the same as mine, maybe just in different orders? Are they completely different? Are you surprised by what I had to say? Etc. I want to know your questions, your comments, thoughts, and ideas. If you haven't already, please remember to go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life, work, balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.